Hi everyone, it's nice to see you all here today. Good morning and welcome to this Momentum Talk on how to lead change with journey management. I'm Emilia Gustafsson, the Chief Strategy Officer at Hellon. In my work, I help big global organizations in their transformation towards becoming more customer-centric. I actually want to start this morning with a powerful insight from Forrester's report published just recently. It shows that in 2026, customer journeys are definitely no longer static artifacts, but really turning into active management operating systems. As a result of this, organizations report clearer prioritization, faster decision-making, and measurable impact on cost, effort, and customer value. Today, we are here to explore the shift of journey management becoming an overarching tool to lead day-to-day operations and long-term change. Let's begin by presenting who we have the pleasure of meeting here today. Okay, so first we have Lotta Salminen from Hellon. She leads human-centric transformation initiatives, helping organizations connect customer journeys, business processes, and AI-enabled operations. Then secondly, we have Jenni Reijonen. She has extensive experience in renewing operating models and driving change in large organizations. Currently, she is building customer journey management at LocalTapiola Mutual Life Insurance, one of Finland's leading insurance companies. And last but not least, we have Martin Palmarts, co-founder and chief customer officer at the journey management platform TheyDo, helping global brands such as Ford, Johnson & Johnson, and Polestar unlock revenue, trim OPEX, and align siloed teams around measurable customer outcomes. A few words about Hellon before we start. At Hellon, we really want to be the alternative to traditional consulting, reshaping how clients and consultants work together in a market where companies must reinvent their business models on average every 3 to 5 years, because we see this very faster and faster change happening. And you can, Lotta, put the next slide. Our special expertise lies in helping our clients like UN Global, Vodafone, HSBC, S Group, Metsä, and Metso in their most critical challenge, to drive change without losing the best people, business, or sense of purpose. And one key fundamental in this approach is ensuring that value for customers remain at the center of every decision. And this is what we will now also dig deeper into through journey management specifically as a tool. So, Lotta, over to you.
Thank you. Welcome everyone, also from my side. I am Lotta, and I'm super excited for today's discussion. I've been waiting this for a long time. And before we move into Jenni's concrete examples from the insurance world and later continue the discussion together with Martin, I'd like to briefly frame what we mean when we talk about journey management as a tool for leading change. At Hellon, we work with many organizations with different kinds of change initiatives. And as we all know, leading change can be quite complex and it often takes a lot of time and effort. And research also shows us that around 70 to 84% of change initiatives actually fall short of their goals. And what we see again and again is that when organizations lead change, the conversation very quickly moves to systems, technologies, budgets, and timelines. And all of that is, of course, important, but what often deserves more attention and creates a real opportunity for better outcomes is the experience of the people who are affected by the change. And for us at Hellon, this is why human-centric change matters. So change always impacts people, be it the customers whose experience we are changing or the employees who need to make these experiences work in practice. And change doesn't always mean a large multi-year transformation. Very often it's a series of different change situations that organizations need to navigate over time in everyday life. So that's why today, when we talk about journey management as a tool for leading change, we are not only talking about these large transformation programs, we are rather talking about how journeys can support different types of change situations, be them small or large. So we know that journeys help us understand what change actually means from a very human-centric perspective. And we typically see this play out in three different ways. So first, we obviously can use customer journeys to design the desired customer experience. And journeys help us to understand what the change towards that desired experience means from the customer's point of view. So the journeys make it visible how the experience is changing, what new expectations it creates, and what kind of changes customers actually have to go through. So in that sense, journeys are a very practical tool for designing and managing these customer-facing changes. Then secondly, journeys help us to work better internally. So once we have this shared view of the desired customer journey, it becomes a shared reference point for different teams internally. So journeys create this shared picture that people can align around, regardless of the function within the organization. So journeys help teams discuss the change using a very human-centric language instead of only technical, organizational, or silo-specific language. And this makes it much easier for people to collaborate and move into the same direction. And then thirdly, we have also seen that journeys become especially valuable in larger change programs that unfold over time. So many of these change initiatives do take years, and as they progress, it's very easy to get lost in the details, in the technical requirements, the dependencies, or the individual tasks, and so forth. And what we've seen is that journeys help us to keep the bigger picture visible. They provide this continuous reminder of what we are ultimately trying to achieve and how different changes connect to each other and why the change matters in the first place. So this is why we see that journeys work so well across different types of change situations. So be it the customer-facing redesign or the internal new ways of working or these long-term change programs, we all can benefit from customer journeys when driving these changes forward. But when we talk about leading change through journey management, it's also important to remember that the journeys are only one side of the coin. So we see that customer journeys work well as a compass. They are an effective tool of showing us the right direction and helping to create a shared understanding of where we want to lead the business towards. But in order to actually reach that change and make it happen in everyday work, something also needs to happen inside the organization. And this is where processes come in. To bring the customer journeys to life, we need clear internal processes that enable and support the journeys. So these journeys don't exist in isolation. If we want the change to work in practice, we also need to look at what supports those journeys internally, and that is processes. And what makes this connection between journeys and processes especially important right now is the context we are operating in. So as we all know, change today is no longer something that happens every few years. It's continuous, it's layered, and it's increasingly complex. And at the same time, we know that we are under a lot of pressure to move faster while still making sure that the change actually delivers value. And this is where clarity becomes critical. So obviously these days we talk a lot about AI, and rightly so. It's not new anymore, but what is fairly new is how deeply AI is starting to shape our everyday work. So we're moving into environments where AI agents and automation increasingly operate alongside people, supporting decisions, executing tasks, and scaling operations. And what I think is very important is that AI doesn't fix unclear ways of working, it will amplify them. And if our organization lacks clarity about how we create value, how our workflows, what a good experience looks like, AI will simply just scale that confusion. So this is why journeys and processes are so important. Journeys help us to define the direction. They describe what kind of experience we want to create, to what direction we want to drive the business, what matters to customers, and what success looks like. And then processes describe how that value is actually delivered in practice reliably, consistently, and safely. So when journeys and processes are connected, we create the structure for AI that the AI needs to operate responsibly. So without that clarity, there is very little guidance for AI and very little value at the end for the customer, the employees, and our businesses. So with this framing in mind, I suggest we move to practical learnings, and I'm very happy to have Jenny today here with us. And Jenny will share concrete examples and her experiences of how journey management has been used within the insurance business to support different kinds of change situations. And sorry, and what kind of value journey management has created in real life. So, Jenny, please go ahead.
Thank you, Lotta. My name is Jenni Reijonen, and I lead customer experience renewal at LocalTapiola Life Insurance Company. My role is to create tools, build models, and implement them in design projects, working closely with our business experts. Just a second, so the slide will change. Okay, here we go. LocalTapiola is a lifelong security company offering insurance, investment, and pension services. We are a large group of mutual companies owned by our customers, so every policyholder owns a slice of LocalTapiola. Measured by direct premiums written, we are the second largest insurer in Finland. And I work in our life insurance company, and we are Finland's market leader in term life insurance. Okay, something wrong with the slides. Just a second. Customer journeys are not new at LocalTapiola, but the way we want to use them has changed. We have been mapping and using journeys in various projects for almost a decade, and there is plenty of expertise in creating them. However, the first challenge was fragmentation. Different teams had been working in their own ways, using different tools and storing journeys in scattered places, from sticky notes to slides to Excel sheets and whiteboards. And as a result, no one had a clear view of what journeys existed, who owned them, or how they were being used. And they did not systematically guide business development. We started by updating our guidelines for journey mapping, but very soon realized that the real question was no longer how to create or map journeys. It was how to use them consistently to drive change. Our goal became to unlock more value from journeys and turn them into a concrete tool for transformation and development. So we created a clear plan and started working systematically to move up the maturity ladder. Our approach has been built on 2 levels simultaneously: shared foundations and practical experiments. The shared foundation means shared definitions, a unified way to map journeys, and a consistent structure and hierarchy. And before any practical application, we co-created LocalTapiola's customer lifecycle journey, which can be used regardless of service or segment. And all detailed journeys are now anchored to this lifecycle view. Of course, similar descriptions existed before, but they were often created from the perspective of a single company or a single product. And this time, we combined our forces and looked across company and segment boundaries. At the same time, we identified ongoing and upcoming projects where we propose to join and design the work through the lens of customer journeys. And these projects welcomed us enthusiastically because they benefited from journey mapping, and we gained valuable insights that we fed back into the shared model. So we didn't design a model first and then just roll it out. We built it through real change projects. And I will now give you some short examples. First example, we are running a major business transformation program that goes far beyond renewing core systems. It also redefines how we work and completely reshapes our product and service portfolio. All our products and services are being redesigned with a customer-centric approach, and our customers will experience significant changes. And our employees have found it extremely valuable that the journeys help remind them of the big picture and the shared goal. And this has received a lot of positive feedback. Example 2 is from a project where we use the customer journey to understand the change from the perspective of our existing customers and to design a smoother experience for them. This project involved more than 20 companies within our group, and the journey became a tool for collaboration across these companies and customers, IT, and other stakeholders. The journey made it possible to understand how a sensitive change situation should be handled, and we identified potential pain points, assessed risks, and co-created the most seamless customer experience possible. And we estimate that if no customer leaves due to process complexity, the improved experience could enhance retention to the extent of safeguarding approximately 400,000 euros in annual premium income. The third example relates to the continuous development of products and business areas, where the teams felt that they lacked an overall view of the business area and its development. The solution was to create a virtual product area teams, teams that bring together the business owner and relevant experts from across the organization. And their shared tool and common view is the product lifecycle journey, which integrates key metrics, customer feedback and insights, development ideas, and actions. And this approach eliminates the need for a separate backlog or separate backlogs scattered across different tools for individual journey stages, and creating one unified and transparent operating model. So the journey became the shared picture that aligned the entire team. Let's then take a moment here for a brief message from my colleague Jenni Koski, who is responsible for leading change within our organization.
Customer journeys are powerful tools for understanding changes in internal business processes. They help clarify what is required from our internal processes to deliver the desired customer experience. And by mapping internal processes against customer journeys, we create a strong foundation for holistic transformation, which benefits not only our customers, but also our employees. And as a change management professional, I have found that using customer journeys has enabled us to communicate our shared target state particularly well, and it ensures that all our employees understand what we're aiming for in our change.
So what's next? We will keep working on the same two levels, shared foundations and practical cases, but now we are moving from pilots to scaling together. And after the pilot phase, we are officially adopting the journey management tool TheyDo with a launch celebration later this month. At the same time, we will kick off a journey community where we refine our practices, share experiences, and support each other in using and expanding the tool. Initially, the tool will be in official use in 4 companies, but through relevant projects, we expect to broaden adoption and grow the number of users as the work progresses. Conveniently, the tool has no user limit, so anyone in our organization can access and leverage the mapped journeys. And we will also continue identifying win-win projects and feeding the learnings back into our shared operating model. So this is not a one-off pilot, it's a continuous transformation and ongoing development of how we work. In addition, we will keep linking customer journeys and processes closely together with the goal of creating a clear, holistic view of business operations. And this will also lay the foundation for the transition towards AI-supported business. So in summary, customer journeys are an excellent tool for driving change because they put the customer at the center. They help visualize complex end-to-end experiences and enable collaborative planning of the desired future state and supporting communications. And they also guide the alignment of internal processes to meet that target. In addition, journeys make the story of change tangible and easy to understand, turning abstract transformation into clear, relatable narratives.
Thank you, Jenny. But hey, let's then move on to our panel discussion and also take in Martin to this discussion. Just wanted to start with asking a few questions from you, Jenny, now, like regarding your very interesting presentation on how you have been successfully driving this change at LocalTapiola. If you look back, what was maybe the biggest aha moment for your team when you first introduced journey management?
For us, customer journeys have been a very natural way of working and making sense of things. So the approach itself didn't require much justification or hard selling internally. But perhaps our biggest aha moment was realizing the value lies in how we ensure the journey, once it's mapped, continues to be used as a practical tool for ongoing development. So it's not just about documenting the journey, but like embedding it into our everyday work so that it really actively guides improvements and supports continuous development.
Yes, so here we again see the fact that it's not only about the tools and technology, but really like the human-centric change, so to say. So people
Exactly.
really like also understanding the point of the tool and also how to use it, and also like the consistency that you really also have the structures in place that you consistently use the tools. Was there something that surprised you in then when you started using journeys in how teams then engaged with them?
Well, even though I, of course, was aware of the value customer journeys offer, I continue to be impressed by just how much benefit arises each time a team gathers around a journey map. Every session brings new insights. Someone always learns something new or spots an area in their own work that would have otherwise gone unnoticed without the journey. And this has led to really quick wins and sparked enthusiasm among both team members and the whole teams to make use of journeys in practice. And also I have been surprised of how little friction or challenge the adoption of the new tool has caused, because we haven't yet provided any training, but users have been eager to explore and experiment with the tool, which has proved to be very user-friendly.
Really nice to hear, and this is also something that we have seen widely in organizations, that when you take the customer point of view, it actually inspires people. It makes actually your work much easier and also more meaningful immediately. So it's not because often when it's about change, you think that okay, it's some new aspect, and I need to learn something new, and it gets more complicated. But actually, it's the other way around. Often we see when it comes to customer value that it actually clarifies a lot, and it's easier to prioritize when you have the customer perspective there guiding you as a North Star.
Definitely, it's more meaningful. Yes.
Yeah. Martin, welcome to also join the discussion. Would you like to just shortly tell about your background?
Thank you, of course. So before we started TheyDo, which I'm one of the co-founders of, I was like Hellon consulting a lot of large enterprises worldwide. And in around 2017, so it's a while already, almost 9 years ago, we started to think of like how can we truly use journeys, which is not a new concept. It's something that has been existing for a very long time. Really, truly use it at scale to transform large enterprises, how they make tactical and strategic decisions. And that was sort of the foundation for TheyDo. And today we are an AI-driven platform. 2-3 years ago, we were not. We were doing everything manually, but now AI is really sort of empowering us to do this truly at scale as well, to help this type of voice of customer, also employee experience and so forth, get to the forefront of how large enterprises make their strategical and tactical decisions. And I am personally involved in helping and coaching large customers to unlock full potential of working with us and journey management.
Thank you. Very interesting. And it's definitely, I think that the past year, like the tool has like developed a lot because it's developing in the same pace as the AI is developing, and you are constantly bringing in new cool features. So it has been really nice to follow. Why do you think that the journeys unlock alignment and scalable change from your perspective?
Sure. Look, I think journeys really try or are very successful rather in sort of unlocking complexity in very large complex environments and organizations. Organizations are built around being specialized in different sort of verticals, marketing, sales, whatever it might be, support, IT, right? And those will never go away. And what we do with journeys is we're connecting these verticals to collaborate and talk the same language, see that one sort of source of truth about what truly matters, right? And now with the ability of scaling journeys across any type of level of horizons and granularity, we can really adapt the data in such a way that it truly answers any type of questions that vertical or that company or enterprise or executive needs to get to the forefront based on whatever decisions they need to make, right? And one thing I really want to emphasize is before, journeys were really about, experience information and experience data, but now we can also merge the business performance angle into a journey context. And now also with technology that is live, that is sort of something that constantly evolves, and therefore that journey becomes the destination to go to truly align around whatever business question you try to solve, right, for.
What do you see in your experience? You have worked with a lot of different companies and industries. What is it that organizations that succeed in journey management, what do they do differently?
Well, committed. They are really dedicated to take the step and have a top-down and bottom-up buy-in and approach, and allow truly teams to have dedicated resources and time to make this change. And then if they get stuck, they have the support from the necessary sponsor to untangle that impediment, whatever it might be, or lack of data, or lack of time, lack of budget, lack of authority as well, right? And I think, when that happens, then you start to treat the journey management or journeys as your, operational system, rather than just a mapping artifact that you sort of look at what's going on right now, and then, move away from it and come back to it maybe a month or 3 later, right? Which normally was the way you used journeys previously. And if you do that, then you will never be able to scale into sort of cross-functional collaboration around journeys and journey management.
I just have to ask, and maybe also Jenny can comment this from your perspective. Committing resources, time sounds like it's understandable that's key. But what is your pro tip to get this commitment? How do you get it? Because there is always a lot of different things to do and competing initiatives. Or what is the required time or resource that you should be able to commit to, and how do you get it? What is your pro tip?
Well, for us, it has been critical to progress through these concrete examples and projects. It also relates to management buy-in. So not necessarily starting from the journey perspective, but rather from a problem or a case that needs to be solved anyway. And then the journey management comes alongside that. And
actually, we also got a few questions on this topic from the audience. So just to elaborate a bit, I'm just checking because there was a lot of good questions related to this and about how do you actually align, for example, cross-functional teams like CX, IT, product, sales, service around these journeys in practice and manage the ownership and accountability, and also that how do you deal with competing approaches, because there is of course other tools and processes also already in use within the company. So I would love to hear also short comments on this, and also Martin can add, and also Lotta if you have something. But do you, Jenny, want to start?
Well, to align things between teams and between companies in our group, we aim to launch a so-called core team with representatives from different companies, as well as this broader journey community where we share experiences and encourage each other to keep pushing forward and to use these agreed tools and ways of working.
I can sort of add to that. We have normally a saying it's fairly simple but fairly complex when it comes to execution. If a journey doesn't have a target or an owner, it cannot improve. So think of like whatever the context you're trying to solve for, you need to have sort of an executive sponsor from an ownership perspective. Like, I have the authority to truly drive change for whatever comes out of this kind of context that is then, captured in these journeys. And what are we measuring? What are we trying to improve, right? So in a tangible way that goes from sort of A to B, right? So what is the target? And then the improvement is, time-based and so forth. So I've been, talking a lot about, mapping for the sake of mapping, which is something CX has been doing a lot for many, many years to discover what actually is going on. Sure, that can be a great sort of intent, but rather try to sort of structure your work and your effort around a specific business problem and then solve for that. And if you don't have the authority to drive the change that you're actually identifying, or opportunities for change that you're identifying, then you need to go to your stakeholders to ask for permission, like, how can we act on this? Because otherwise you just end up having a fancy PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, very good examples. And I could add that the driving through this change, as Jenny said, we didn't really face a lot of obstacles, so to say, because I think people very quickly bought into the idea of what kind of value the journey creates for their team or their business problem. But the change did take, or like the driving through that we got the tool adopted, it took us 1.5 years. So it's like I think Martin used a very good word, dedication, and that is what it really requires. Long nerves, a lot of repetition. But as Jenny said, the concrete examples are a very effective way to drive the change forward. And then I think one of the key successes in LocalTapiola was that we were able to get the product owners to buy into the idea, because they are the ones who lead the business areas, and they are the ones who pull in sales, marketing, IT, data, and so on. And when it came to the question about how did we sort of introduce this new tool, because they do, of course, have existing tools, but what they actually communicated towards us was that we are lacking the big picture. We do have the development ideas, like the technical development ideas in Jira. We have this in PowerPoint, this in Excel, and so forth, but they were lacking the overall picture of the whole product area. So they really saw the benefit in journeys in a way that gave them the whole picture, the big view, and then the product owner was able to lead the whole team towards the same direction. So yeah, obviously we could dive so much more deeper into this, but just to give you a couple examples.
And just saying actually that we have now reached like our time slot of 45 minutes. So those of you who need to step away now, thank you very much for your participation, and we will also send you then this webinar recording afterwards. And we thought that since it feels like we just get the discussion going and getting warm in our clothes here, so we could actually continue 10 minutes more to answer all the questions we have. So those of you who have the possibility, please stay online still for 10 minutes if you have time. But for those who need to leave, thank you. Just regarding what we just discussed, I think there is probably many of us now thinking about that. How do you get the buy-in, especially from the top management? Do you have any concrete tools for especially this target group?
Yeah, I can start with that very quickly. This is a topic that we are discussing endlessly with many of our clients and users and beyond. CX has always been about mapping experiences and talking about metrics that potentially have not always got the full respect on executive level, like NPS, CSAT, CS, and so forth. But as soon as we begin talking about business performance indicators that are really, really resonating about how we operate as a business or how we perform as a business, for instance, think of churn or costs to serve or amount of tickets we have in the customer support log and so forth, and how we can break those down and get into improving these through the knowledge of what is the experience of the customer, employee, where are the different friction points, and then we report them back to these decision makers in a language and a format that they understand, because we have the total view of both quant and qual in a context. Then you get the attention and the impact that you so much need and deserve, right? So it's a very, very important thing to bring them along and connect them through your data and talk the language they are used to, to get that executive sponsorship, because then you truly begin to breaking down or connecting the silos and so forth in a way that is so necessary to get this up and running in an efficient way.
Maybe also just to add, reflecting on our experiences, it's very good to start immediately work on building the buy-in with the top management, but then at the same time maybe also starting to do something concrete in practice. So not just waiting for some buy-in and decision to come from somewhere, but to really just start doing, start using, like choose one journey, for example, start with one team that start exploring and using the journey, and then the results will tell for themselves in the future then the benefits of the approach, and it will be easier to also get the buy-in as you have something concrete to show, and you actually already have committed teams that really see that the approach is valuable and in practice. What if we just go a bit forward into another topic and talk a bit more actually about the AI side of things that Martin, you just earlier on touched lightly upon. Since also TheyDo nowadays use a lot of AI tools in it, and it becomes integrated into operations also more generally. How do you still ensure that the human stays in the center of things?
So it's a question we can discuss for ages, right? What AI does is really able to bring clarity and pattern recognition across vast amount of data sets, right? So what we can do today is we can treat qualitative information as we have always been treating and working with quantitative information. So at scale, we can bring order and structure and index the experience information in a very, very efficient and fast way. But still, whatever comes out of this, the decisions you need to make, how you organize yourself around these insights is something that we definitely believe still is something that puts the human at the center, right? And it is all about putting people first. So AI helps us to do that now at scale, but of course then how we take it further and interpret it and activate around it is still a process that I do believe humans and individuals and CX professionals and so forth definitely are and should be in control of, right? So it's rather more of an efficiency tool that also empowers you to do way more in way less time. And also, I think it also lowers the barrier to entry as well considerably, right? So you do not have to have a team of experts maybe and to get going. You can already do that with the data you have. If you have, say, 100 interviews lying around, you can start working with that very, very quickly, and then truly make that into fantastic, tools and performance reports and action data that you can then present to your stakeholders.
So actually the adoption of the tool actually becomes much easier and quicker because there is not that much manual work, but it's more easier to integrate.
Well, yeah, I definitely do agree. And I think what we have discussed, especially now working with LocalTapiola and like talking about the journeys and AI and then processes, I think that's where the most of the discussion about AI has sort of revolved around. I definitely do agree with Martin, like all that you said, that when we bring AI within the journey management tool, that will allow us to work more effectively and drive change way more quicker and also to the right direction. And then when we talk about like enabling AI agents to work within our organizations. We've been working a lot within LocalTapiola in connecting customer journeys and processes, because at least the way we see it at this point is that customer journeys are still sort of the top level, big picture. They are the management tool for business, but when you dive deeper into the nitty-gritty, actual, like how do these different things happen in practice, that's where you need processes, and you need to have both of these aligned so that in the future we can introduce AI agents, for example, to join to create these experiences. So yeah, many roles that AI plays in this entity.
One thing I can also add with what AI also does and enable us to do is to make journeys live, so they are, you know, always up to date. If you of course have the right data sources connected to the journey, so you can rely on that. What I'm looking at and working with is truly what happens right now. And another thing is that it becomes therefore active. It can also alert about what matters, when it matters, and so forth, rather than you have to constantly go in and query it and search for something. So AI is really great at informing you. So there's a great example of say, for instance, Lufthansa, that has been sort of looking at different patterns, and if something surfaces as an alert or pain, then the platform alerts you about it, and then they can start to take action, for instance. So you can flip it around and think about it as a very good sort of research helper and contextualizing, you know, your pains and frustrations or business performance bottlenecks, and then activate you when you need to.
Thank you. Hey, I think we are running out of time. Thank you, Lotta, Martin, and Jenny for this discussion. And maybe we need to set up a vol 2 of this webinar, since it seems that the discussion could have kept on going for even longer as well. But just to wrap up today's session, a few things. I think what came through today was that actually journeys in leading change, the most impactful and powerful thing that they can bring is actually the clarity and the inspiration, the meaningfulness. So that they actually are a tool to, in a sense, make change easier and more meaningful, and that's why it makes it so powerful. And then the other thing that it's not, when we talk about journeys, it's really not, the complicated part is not the mapping of them, that already AI can do very quickly with the help of TheyDo, for example. But it's really to make people then use them in everyday operations. But today, as technology evolves, it is actually not that difficult to take a new tool such as TheyDo into use, and it will help you to then operationalize the journey management. So this is also something I think is important to remember, that because we are maybe used to that. Always when you talk about some new system or digital tool, you think that, oh my God, it will take like 6 months before I even understand how to use it, and I will never have time to adopt it. But that today it can be way much easier, and it actually simplifies your work in the end. Is there something you want to still add, Lotta, Martin, or Jenny, or should we end here? We are a few minutes to 12.
Yeah, I think there would be a lot to add, but let's leave that for another time. And thank you from our part for participating.
I mean, look, from our side, we of course offer the journey management platform, but you know, we're also very happy to share best practices and best, you know, examples from the world and our clients and so forth. Do reach out to us if you're interested to learn more. we're available for discussions and support in any kind of way. And of course, on TheyDo.com, there's a lot of information to read up on as well. More than happy to facilitate that for you guys as well.
And also at Hellon, we are ready to help on a very low barrier, and also we can provide tools to do piloting without committing to any new system or investment yet. So happy to help and spar. Thank you.